Nice rotation so far off the launch pad from the peak of that mountain, but the main difference that I've noticed in Bugha and Aviv's game in comparison to what we saw, for example, coming from NA Major 3, typically they like to be aggressive towards the team that is landing on Piney Lane, but that has not been an option for them this game because Koyota and Mifali, they're just not willing to take that exchange. They're bailing, they're getting their loot and immediately looking to rotate out, so it's not really leaving Bugha and Aviv anyone left nearby. They're having to forcibly create these storm surge situations, and it's not easy to acquire those tags by any means. You miss one shot, that could be the difference between above or below that damage threshold.
That is true, and speaking about big differences, Peterbot and Boyo just got their hands in on that bunker. Let's not forget the bunker will give you access to that modification bench to change your weapons, right? To get yourself nice and comfortable. And now that they have that, they'll likely be looking for the Rift Island to go ahead and take a fight. Meanwhile, Eights Flixie and Ovation Vico back in the game, as healthy as ever when things were almost fading away for a moment there here in game number 5. But they're in first place, they're in the lead, and they're looking pretty situated now.
And they're going straight back to home base. Little do they know, though, King Phaser could be a very problematic circumstance, depending on the approach there for Vico and Flixie, but still inside, deep the storm. Muzz and Epic Whale. Decent amount of material count, though, but it looks like Muzz is gonna have to lose at least one of these medkits along the way, fully intending to just locate what he can inside of the bunker, maybe even make use of that weapon mods bench.
Back on over to the other draw spot, though, with Vico and Flixie here. It's the landing home. Let's see it, though. King and Phaser playing the low ground right now instead of opting for a little bit of a stronger position. So I'm almost calling bait here, but given his stance, all of a sudden, yeah, things switch around really quickly here. King looking for an opportunity, but no. Drop, trying to run here. Phaser must have called back off, and it's not working well. Not right now for them. Vico and Flixie still on the pulse here. Phaser barely gets up to that next layer.
Every shot that Vico lands, he's direct against Scram. But at the same time, where can King and Phaser actually run to? They are trapped. Vico and Flixie know Reckless Railways like the back of their hands. And sure, I'm aware that King and Phaser, they're bound to have good knowledge as well of the POI, but to the same extent as Flixie and Vico, one of the main takeaways that I got from last night listening to Vico in the player room was him saying, nobody plays Reckless Railways right. We are the only ones that understand this POI, and when somebody is that confident in their knowledge, that's a serious threat.
Yeah, you saw he had every angle. He knew where to cut them off, basically within the building, the structure, and they knew better than to push into the railway itself, given all the cover that's there. So happy with the damage. Meanwhile, Clix and Vino, though, on the move here. Again, no strangers to the storm here. We saw them double back after going north to try to find some tags. Now they're looping their way, again, south and then into the new zone. Everything's starting to piece together. Meanwhile, the standings, one of our top 10 teams are down. Just for that update there, Malabuka and Merstash is that team. Look at this, though. Swizzy, Jackto, from a dub into a fight here, landing on Visuals and Braids now. Looking for the big shot, didn't quite get the maximum damage, but still gets to finish off Visuals there. And all that material, they are right back into it.
The most important part as well for Swizzy and Yapko is that time to elimination was so fast. It's not going to give a real opportunity for, say, somebody like Yuma in the distance to actually have a chance to play catch-up, look to third-party opportunity, because it appears as though Yuma might even be in that solo situation, and when that's the case, you're always hoping that you can kind of just stumble upon an engagement already taking place, maybe get some shots in that might allow you an opportunity to go for a little bit of siphon materials, a knock, an elimination, points, placements. Is really what everybody is after right now.
Thomas HD and Queasy, damage numbers looking phenomenal right now. I don't think there's anyone beating them in the game here at this given moment. Moving around though. This is the Mount Olympus, right? Home of Quanti and Gon. Should very likely be up top somewhere. Look at this. You got Janice here. You have Kramsu. A lot of the Brazilian teams there. Persa and Ed.
A little bit of a giggle because if the one surge base wasn't enough, Trulix and Chicho have evolved yet again into maintaining two separate surge bases even. Meanwhile, Aviv Bugha tangled up a little bit here right now with Swizzy, but we've seen Swizzy perform already once today, MDF, in a 1 versus 2, and this time he still got his duo with them, but most importantly still, Aviv Bugha, they're trying to do what they can to break through some of these builds, but they're just gonna find themselves cut off. They're not able to actually cross the gap just yet because Bugha also needed ample opportunity to make sure that he could regenerate his shields off of what heals they have left, but that's gonna be more than enough room for Yapko and Swizzy to just full on disengage.
Bugha and Aviv don't chase either. They just let them go, so it's telling. It shows us that they want another one of those end games. They need another one of those end games, and they can't toss it away. It's a chance for them to go ahead and do just that, but they do need more damage. But talk about that. It seems like Swizzy rotates right into Bryce and Bolt, so not too much longer do they fall. But Peterbot and Pollo, the Rift Island, we already know. They hit the mod bench, they're set up, and then straight to the Rift Island every single time here. And now Shari is so low. Storm Surge going to be giving them a big, big problem here in the coming moments.
The worst part is knowing that it's Peterbot and Pollo. Every time that reveal medallion goes off, it's every 50 seconds, by the way. And again, teams are marked, players are marked for 15 seconds after the fact. That is so much information, and in the hands of somebody like Peterbot and Pollo, it can be devastating for the rest of the lobby. But Cherry, he's managed to find an isolation moment. Worthy trying to do what he can, but the Storm might take him out as is. Instead, Cherry diverts his attention to another Oshi player, and he is going to find Damo in the mix. Couple of knocks, couple of eliminations. Couldn't have come at a more perfect time.
Look at this, though. The setup from Aviv and Bugha after rotating. They find Swizzy again, so Swizzy was knocked, picked up, and then ultimately falls back to the hands of Aviv here. You can see, yes, 2 eliminations, so starting to really heat up now. Bugha and Aviv come the late half of the tournament. Wait a second, though. Storm Surge is active now. Damage is starting to add up here. Even with that elimination there, they will need a single tag. These are the chances, and when you miss them, it does end up catching up to you. Down goes Bugha to the Surge. The next tag will take down Aviv, and you know it's over.
It's a tough break. Devastating one potentially, but at the same time, the mental bounce back, the mental fortitude that players like Aviv and Bugha are sure to compose themselves with. See how they bounce back in the final match of day 1 here today. But more importantly still, all these other duos, all these other players that still remain, Monster, Skrull, Sky, trying to scale their way down, but crossing bodies of water, knowing that there's teams already set up on elevation, shots just pouring in from multiple directions, and you're still trying to maintain focus for an open opportunity. Skrull can't even take any sort of chance to heal. He knows that if he pauses 1 moment too long, that's where he'll be taken down. The build count just not where it needs to be. Handful of armored walls remain now for Sky. He's still trying to see if he can get 1 more shot in. Any sort of a break at this point, but essentially MDF, it looks like they're about to fall just outside the placement point zone.
Yeah, he's got Batman Bugha coming right at him as well. Doesn't quite find a chance to find the tag there. Someone else snipes the elimination there too, and all focus starts to aim towards him, but 46 above here, doesn't hold on long, and he just gets melted right out of the game. Meanwhile, Reet and Ritual are down. Rapid and Batman Bugha don't survive the rotate, as you saw there, and so much of the immediate competition, our bubble teams are falling. That's gonna make for a very interesting last game of day number 1, given how close it's gonna be point-wise. So we're gonna see a lot of changes come that last round, but Vino and Clix holding on by a sliver here.
This is too close for comfort, though. Clix and Vano have practically no space to work with. They've got two separate teams underneath them. Their only saving grace being the fact that Peterbot Pollo nearby, getting those mark indications from that reveal medallion. That's going to be enough for them to emphasize focus onto Reason's box. But again, Acorn, Cold, directly underneath where Clix and Vano are currently at, and they are looking to be in a much more situated position here. This is tough stuff.
But look who's got high ground again. Flixie and Vico take the chance here while everyone's playing passively boxed up. They snipe up a strong spot, and they already have the marker set up for another high ground spot. And you can tell they're playing for wins here. This is all win condition setups. Meanwhile, Vino and Clix struggling here below the surge, need damage, they need health. And it's a very healthy Vico and Flixie above them, so not an easy duo by any means, but they don't have that information.
Vano knows that they don't really have much of a choice at this point. They've got to jump into just about anyone's box if they want to keep this Game 5 run going strong, because a refresh is a necessity at this point. The material count entirely too low. They need heals as well, and they're not going to find it unless they eliminate somebody else. But overhead, Vico catches a glimpse of Clix, takes out a huge chunk of his HP, but at the same time, Clix actually does wind up falling, and Vano meets a similar fate. Just no escape from the top end of the leaderboard.
And it just plays so smart. Vico and Flixie use those armored walls perfectly to bait them around, and then right when you think they're not interested in fighting, they get at the top on the Vino and Clix there, and you know, it's just excellent defense, and clearly they're playing so well. It's hard to compete against that. And talking about that, Peterbot and Pollo continue to find eliminations. Take a look at the replay here. While all of that was unfolding, they find threats with the finish there. Now that's 3 elims, another end game, inching its way towards them now, as we're almost to zone number 9. Big moves here for Peterbot. They're gonna give up the high ground a little bit here to play the low front side. Very interesting strategy given that they had mats to work with. But too many teams are alive for their liking, it seems.
Also, the natural elevation possibly working against their favor for the time being. They don't want to get caught off guard, much of a similar fashion the way that they've been catching other teams off notice. But Thomas HD, Queasy, they can see all these teams sliding down the mountain face. Trapsu and Clone doing what they can to survive. Similar circumstance there for Cooper, as Peterbot and Pollo continue to pressure against his walls. But just behind, Peterbot saw Victor V and Paper as well. Could be some big fights taking place soon on the low ground.
Let's not forget Kovacs and Huddy were taken out in the drop last game. They were in 4th coming into that round before slipping down the standings now, showing us just how consistent they really are, coming right back into things. Meanwhile, Queasy pushing their way through. Down goes Cooper, looking for the finish. He'll get it. Kanata forced to run up to another layer here. And they might not be in a spot to win the game just yet, but they are racking up a lot of points now once again, coming into the final rounds here for day number 1. Chicho and Trulex, another end game for them as well. Teams just showing their stride. It's very clear who's had good performances here today. Acorn and Cole get chopped out by Flixie and Vico. They are just the talk of the town right now.
Vico, Flixie, Peterbot, Pollo, they just seemingly operate at a different level altogether currently, and everybody else just trying to play catch-up. Chicho, Trulex, they've caught wind of Epic Well, but Epic Well doing what he can. It's an even exchange, down to just Trulex versus Muzz. But the question is, will he even manage to find that? Instead, Kovacs gonna opt to play the medkit. It's all down to just placement opportunity at this point.
And then you have Pollo and Peterbot still alive right now, still kicking here. This is the only competition besides Acorn and Cold who can obviously rack up enough points to give everyone a run for their money. Bryce and Bolt are setting up for the high ground win, while Pollo, Peterbot, Vico, Flixie are fighting for eliminations closer to the low ground now. And they might just clash here in the moments to come as they're standing on opposite ends of the low ground position here. Pollo pressuring everyone nearby. Flixie down, Vico down as well. to the hands of the teams on the other side as well. And look at this, the low ground spot for Peterbot and Pollo, just so content, but now they're looking for high ground.
But the real winners of that exchange, Queasy, Thomas, Vico, Flixie, they all eliminate each other, so now it's just up to Pollo and Peterbot to see what they can do. Bolt and Bryce, though, firm grasp of the high ground, doing what they can to just try and shred through the players underneath. Dukes scrambling, barely managing to throw up some wood above his head, keep him safe for the time being. But at the same time, Peterbot and Pollo, they are titans on this low ground currently.
So Peterbot has to get an elimination here and then go for high ground if he wants to do something, but these teams are not making it easy. Meanwhile, Wox and Pings are getting active from the low ground, though the shots are coming in. Peterbot and Pollo find the first few, and there's still points to be earned here, and Pollo wants them all. It's gonna make a huge, huge difference here. Secures the material count as well. That's gonna set Peterbot up for just enough. Bolt and Bryce have been here before. Bryce specifically has won games in person on land. I called it before, this is the team that you have to look out for. They are so talented. However, Peterbot and Pollo just, I mean, they've been ahead of the pack so far.
But Peterbot and Pollo, they got the most recent refreshes.
Pollo's
Granted,
going up.
everyone's build
They have a little bit more map, but Peterbot has too much to work with. Another armored wall. Bolts has an angle. Can he get it? No! Peterbot won't drop it twice.
Peterbot and Pollo strike yet again on the day. Match number 5, and the victory royale belongs to them. First place continuing to extend itself, and that is the real difference maker here today, MDF. You can see our big winners on the screen right now, and Adam's there.
Would you please, Fort Worth, make some noise again for Peterbot and Pollo! Do you know what? I love those. I love those moments because this crowd wanted that to happen. Pollo, the Flowberry push there. You guys were low ground. You pushed on through. Talk us through the moment there and when you make that call and how that happens between you guys.
Yeah, I think it was the zone pulled back, so we had like old builds to use to go up, and I was able to get like a good angle to kill one.
Elimination-wise as well, you guys are consistent there. Standings as well. Peterbot, how would exactly? I'm sure there's so many aspiring Fortnite players here as well. It's just constant for you guys. Major wins. What is the magic, the secret sauce that is really making you guys, ensuring you get to these top spots right now?
I'm not gonna lie, we have the Mythic every season, you know what I'm saying? And me with the Mythic, I'm just unstoppable, you know what I'm saying? I get so many eliminations and stuff, so yeah.
Dangerous out there. Well, I'm going to talk about there being this experience right now because you guys have been consistent. We're going to see, I'm sure, a lot more over the course of this weekend. Pollo, what's it been like for you as well? You feel the crowd out there. One more time, Fort Worth, let them hear you guys. It's for you, buddy. They're amazing, by the way. And I mean, this must be a lot of wind in your sails as well. How does it feel to be performing in front of this crowd here at Global Championships?
Feels amazing, especially getting a win. It's like hype, and then like on the walkout, everyone is cheering for us. Yeah, it feels great.
Okay, and I want you one more time. Anything you want to say to people, to the crowd right now, to get them even more hype than they are already?
Hey, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, we're winning this right now.
There you go. Give it up for Peterbot and Pollo! GG's, fellas. Again, lots more to get excited about here. These guys crushed it. I'm sure they'll continue to do so. Lots more games to go, though. One more left today. After the break, it's coming your way. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a sec.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FNCS, and a big welcome back to Kelly Link and Mini Miner. Game number 5 goes to Peterbot and Poyo. My goodness, just so much went right for the duo in this last game, from the Rift Islands to the bunkers to just being stacked in a zone. And now, somehow, we've given them a victory royale. Who let that happen?
I mean, we kind of saw it happening a little bit in Game 3. We all thought that that game was going to go their way.
Yep.
Getting second place with double-digit eliminations was only the start for this duo. Peterbot and Poyo showcasing once again why they are the demons of North America, chopping out Acorn and Cold right there, being able to chop out Height and then not even claim it as their own. I thought that was going to be the follow-up, but instead staying on the low ground and then finding so much loot there, giving them the advantage in the final moments.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. This is actually their 10th victory royale this entire chapter. The only duo to get double-digit victory royales this entire chapter. The way they went about it was really, really impressive. All of those refreshes, as you talked about, Kelly, was so, so vital. Using those armored walls to protect themselves, and even just keeping themselves using that Flowberry Fizz, ensuring that they keep that mobility, and that was crucial to this moment right here for Poyo. Popping that Flowberry Fizz to give him that little bit of extra mobility and jump high just allows them to close out the fight really well. I mean, they were on low ground. I thought, Bryson Bolt surely should close this one out here, but Peterbot and Poyo in particular there, what a clutch.
I mean, typically when we see these low ground teams, they try and stay there as long as possible, and it's usually the high ground teams that have to drop down low to face them if they don't have the heal off potential. But not when it's Peterbot and Poyo. No, they're going to go up and they're going to fight and they're going to win.
That's right, and we can see those highlights presented by NASCAR. My gosh, I love too the fact that when Adam goes in for the interview, he's like, hey, Poyo, talk to me about what you thought. The fact that Poyo had just these disgusting angles on these duos, and a lot of those circumstances, you're not thinking there's like a duo like in this weird angle. Poyo's just like, hello, here's my shotgun. I want a victory royale, please. My gosh, just so well done. And the fact that they also had the heals. If something crazy goes on, they're like, we got a couple med kits if we have to push it to that point. We also have a listen in from that last game. Take a listen.
Look in front. You see that solo? We're just going left of him. Left of him.
Yeah.
Come up. Come up. Come
Watch
low
your
ground.
back,
Come.
I'm with you.
We're gonna do it. I think we go back to our tarp then. Go back to our tarp.
Wait,
Right, on low ground. Dead it, killed him.
Nice.
They're staying on each other.
I can go up.
Throw all the way out.
They don't know. 100?
Nice, dude. Get on me. Chill.
I have no close.
Chill.
Look up.
100.
He's dropping.
We're good. Chill. Stop. Yo, take my kit.
He's dropping.
Chill.
20, he took 24.
Let's go! We're the best, baby!
That's like, what,
Come
13?
on. Bro, we're the best,
go,
bro.
bro.
Oh my god. Let's go!
10. It's fine. 10
Good job, bro. We're crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they're super funny. I love to in that moment. Poyo's like, dude, 15, like, to him in that moment, he's just eliminating everyone, right? Like, it's all happening so fast. Just so well, expertly played from the duo. And again, to see them playing from low ground just so well, like, if you said, yeah, they're a low ground team, I'd be like, yeah, but that's kind of not what they're about.
The thing is, they're an everything team, regardless of the situation, regardless of if they have the mats for high ground, or if they're going to stick to the low ground, they are going to come out on top. And look at that distance. We saw after game number 4 that it was Vico and Flixie in first place by just a few points. Now the lead stretching to 50 points for Peterbot and Poyo.
Yeah, Vico and Flixie were looking really good there as well going into that game. That end game was really solid for them, and just up until they went down there at that point. And of course, that just gave Peterbot and Poyo the green light to make sure they could make the most of that game. Even in that listening right there, they were saying, how many eliminations? Oh, 10? Yeah, it's okay. Most teams were like, we just got a 10 elimination victory. Oh, let's go crazy. But these guys, that's just another day at the office for them. Something else I'm noticing about this as well. Look at that, Bolt and Bryce moving up 19 places up there into 8th place. Huge performance from these guys. The way they held height was really good as well, using these armored walls to ensure that people couldn't chop them down as easily. And it's just this constant pressure. Look at Bolt's inventory. He's used pretty much everything. Only one big pot left to make sure they hold on to that height and maintain it. Really well played from these guys.
And we also saw them on Rift Island as well with Peterbot and Poyo, but choosing not to engage in that. Instead, just using it as a little bit of an advantage, seeing where the rest of the lobby is landing, making sure that they're able to be put into an advantageous position, and that is what allowed them to grab this high ground. 8 eliminations before Bryce went down. Bolts, though, doing his best to try and fight him out, but when it's Peterbot and Poyo that you have to 1v2 against, there's not much you can do.
And it's nice to see them making these end games as well at the beginning of the show, we were talking about this sort of contestation with Vico and Flixie on that side. How's things going to go there? What's going to happen? Is it going to be one of those teams making it to endgame and the other one maybe not? It seems like they both sort of found a way to play their own game. And of course, Vico and Flixie making that more north rotation, finding some other forecast towers if they need them. And then Bryson Bolts are able to make these end games consistently as well. So it seems to be kind of working out for both duos right now. And if Bryson Bolts can continue to do that, I expect him to finish in the top 10 towards the end.
Fantastic stuff. And I love, too, kind of what you called out, the fact that Rift Island, they kind of go up to fight Peter Bob Poyo, and then they go, whoa, Peter Bob Poyo, my bad. Peter Bob Poyo, then just like, they just blaze a trail, and they're like, hey, well, they've already done all the work. Cool, let's just follow them, right? And then they end in second place.
I mean, even if you aren't able to claim Rift Island, just by getting the material, there is also that weapon mod bench that's in there. And also, you get the great rotations from the static launch pads from there, or the rifts from around you. Also, a lot of other teams are going to be using the rifts. So if you do need a few tags, well, guess what? A lot of players are going to be rifting around you, and you're going to be able to get those tags. Speaking of a great performance, Acorn and Cold just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, this is really, really nice to see from these guys. A little bit of a better performance than we have seen in some of the games, but it's one of those where they tried to take that high ground, got chopped out. We saw Acorn going down right there, but it's all about Cold. I think Cold can clutch up in those situations. Didn't quite make it happen right there, but this is a team that won't let that affect them. It seems like Osborne right now is being so much more of a breeze than we anticipated going into the show, so they're able to make these end games consistently. They're going into it with decent loot as well. Even playing for height there, didn't quite work out in the end, but this is a duo that I expect to see in more of these end games, even in day number 2.
Absolutely. I'm getting word. The last game of the day. I don't want it to be over, but we are prepared. It is time. After this game, we go into tomorrow's 6 and a 1.5 times multiplier. These duos need to do everything they can to solidify today. One last ride. Casters, over to you.
Thank you, Zeke, and that's right. They have to secure the lead now and or jump up, right, and have a chance for tomorrow.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that you finish strong on day 1, heading into that 1.5 times multiplier for day 2 MDF. But at the same time, you still know that you have 6 more games to work with. So it's not the end of the world by any means, just in case day 1 was a little bit more of a bust.
That's right, and there are teams now getting close to those back-to-backs on land. Talk about Peter Bob Poyo. Let's see it for the last game.
Just like that, we are back in it. Game number 6, day number 1. And Monster, we have seen some pretty crazy 50-50 off the drop. But again, taking a step back now, looking at a team like Pixie and Giannis landing at Redline Rig and currently just fixated exclusively on trying to maintain the most optimal loot path possible.
You know, what I'm really excited about, or what I'm happy about watching play out today, is that all the rumors were true. Everyone who said, I'm landing on this team, I'm taking that fight, they meant it. And they're showing up just like Power Alex and Worthy here, who take down Merstash for his 2nd game now, back-to-back, and Malibuca left in the courtyard here to run for himself. Worthy doesn't want to peek as he's got low HP, but so does Malibuca. Alex says, screw it, I'm going for it. Finds one tag, can he get the 2nd? Of course, he can, and he secures the dub there. Back-to-back now on the drop.
Better late than never, after all. And as far as the Power Boys are concerned, Alex and Worthy have finally woken up when they needed to most MDF, because first few matches of the day, certainly not going their way, but to close out here, winning it out over the likes of Malibuca and Merstash of all teams, that's a huge confidence swing.
Very, very well played there, but hold up. I'm holding my breath for a second as Kovacs and Huddy have almost not learned any lessons as far as respecting Skrull and Sky are concerned. It seems like when they get the drop and they have the high ground, they are all action and no fear here. Last game they survived the drop, they made something good out of it, once again making it into the end game. It's very clear that if Huddy and Kovacs perform the same tomorrow, they're gonna be up inside that top 10 with a very hefty chunk of money, given that there is $2 million+ of prizing available here in the tournament. So much more to play for than just the bragging rights, of course. 6th place now for Kovacs and Huddy as we get the standings update. And look, the game that Sky and Skrull survived, though, they made something great out of it too. So these are clearly 2 very good teams.
without a doubt. More on that later on, though, because right now it's all about Clix and Veno. They have full-on trapped Damo and Resigns inside of the tunnel now. Here next to Sandy steps, Resigns trying to do it again, but Veno is relentless with the pressure. Clix, on the other hand, eats way too much damage. That could be so problematic. Damo and Resigns, they're going to manage to escape because Clix has to fall back. There is no other option. They cannot afford to fall here. They are still maintaining a position within the top 10, but the fact that they've managed to fluctuate outside of top 5, that's a position that can be really difficult to come back from, especially when you remember
hill, but give it a second here.
the other issue, though, that Veno and Clix have now encountered, though, is that this exchange has drawn out for far too long. The launch pad positioning that Veno and Clix like to try and set up for height elevation, try and look for some surge tags, it's going to be cut short. It's going to be stretched out for far too long. And other teams are now having the opportunity to make their approach instead. Peterbot, Poyo already trying to converge onto this location. Forecast Tower in sight as well, potentially, but Aspect, Kazi, they've got to be careful. Lingering around Snooty Station, they don't want to get caught off guard, and sure enough, Peterbot, Poyo, it's all about making it to the launch pad hill.
They're on the high ground right now. If they just peek over, they'll see that there's a lot of opportunity below them starting to develop, but Peterbot's got his attention on the far eastern team here. Glances over in Veno's direction, takes some tags, doesn't quite find them just yet. It's Gyros and Sherry, though, who's building up the high base here. There are roughly 6 teams in this area, all with sight lines on Veno and Clix.
And it comes as no surprise considering that it's the Forecast Tower that everybody was hoping to potentially get their paws on, but instead, we'll have to sit back and wait to see what happens next here as Clix, Veno, again, they were just prevented from getting optimal positioning to set up for the Forecast Tower and Launchpad plays, and now they've lost that position entirely to the likes of Peterbot and Poyo, and they know it as well. So at this stage, the only option left is for Clix and Veno to confirm these 2 eliminations now onto Damo and Resigns.
Yeah, they're starting to push here pretty aggressively. Clix doing much better job now as he's side by side his teammate Veno. The opponents, Damo on the run now. Built out to the side there. Clix still curious to the fact that he owns some of the territory here. That's going to be a small victory for them in the time being. Up and over they go.
This is where they had initially trapped Resigns and Damo, but at the same time, Damo managing to sneak around out back, but it's only because of the fact that Gyros, Sherry, they have moved in to the vicinity, and now Veno, Clix, fully aware of the fact that there is just too many numbers surrounding them. It's too close for comfort. They've got to find another way to escape, and the other thing that could potentially be threatened at this point for Clix and Veno is the vending machine. It's going to be, I don't want to say impossible for them to make their way to those resources, but at the same time, how do you break through all these duos already surrounding you?
Yeah, and again, more points lost as well. It's not just, of course, the game starting to slow down for them. It's the points that they're not accruing because Gyros and Sherry have effectively taken those eliminations now. Even Aspect and Kaz are just off in the distance. They're listening to what's happening. Jumping on over to other very familiar teams here. XX Ritual, Reet as well. Kind of inside the Doomstat, but you have Mudds here waiting, almost combed up. Slips out the side there. He's very fast. He's not going to make it easy by any means. Out the wall he goes, but it's a 2v1. What can you do? Reet takes him down without a sweat.
I know it's really interesting to actually see Reet and Ritual clashing this early on with Epic Well and Muzz. A passing comment that Reet made in the player room last night was You know, we missed out on a Cash Cup, most recent one. Epic Well and Muzz, they were able to get Mysterio uncontested and all the little goodies that he has to offer. And so, have to wonder now, you get a taste of that kind of power and you want to keep going back for it. So Epic Well and Muzz, that might be a fight that they find themselves caught up in for more than just today.
Yeah, that makes sense too, right? You get that false sense of security, like, oh, Cash Cup went great. Let's
Well, it was uncontested, right?
do that again.
You're feeling good. And then Reed and Ritual, though, there to remind them, no, this is still our territory. But again, it could be a Clash of the Titans for sure.
Well, Chicho and Trulux have continued to show us that they have what it takes to find their way up the standings here. They've really fought their way up the rankings almost unprecedentedly. No one saw it coming here. But when they make it into the end game, they're just an unstoppable force. You don't really know what to expect from them. You'll find them in the mid ground, sometimes on the height. And all of a sudden now, they are just there.
Trulux and Chicho just have a way of kind of just going unexamined, essentially. Like, it almost seems like they have a very seamless transition from their early to mid to late game. And a big part of the reason for that is that they are just a team that is notorious. They go for the surge bases. They go for the reliable surge tag damage as well. They are just excellent at bottlenecking teams into a certain flow on the map. Because wherever they surge base at, you know it's going to be an optimal position that's going to prevent everyone else from participating.
And we did notice that they have the storm information as well, just given to us from that update there. So they know exactly where they need to be, where the next zones are going to be. Moving towards Vico, pushing in on Virgo. Not looking to let them have this for free, but there's Armored Wall there. And oh, he's serious about it. You know he's serious, and he's willing to break this one down.
Might be here for a minute. Depends. Imagine another one goes up right after the fact. And sure enough, just in case you thought they were done, Vico and Flixie, they're going to be pickaxing for a hot minute to get into this bunker. Virgo and Shadow know that they are functioning with limited time here. And every second just means one more opportunity for Shadow and Virgo to continue to strip the weapon bunker of all its valuable resources. But this is about to be an all-out brawl here for Vico and Flixie.
Not looking good for Flixie. Shadow and Virgo were ready for the fight there. And another armored wall comes down. So those armored walls are instantaneously put at maximum HP. They clearly have 3 or 4x the health of a metal wall. So it's a good way to slow a team down, especially the second place one. But let your guard down, and now look. Team is flying in very, very fast here. We'll get their names shortly. Flixie and Vico is in a world of trouble here potentially now.
I'd say even they're lucky that it seems as though Virgo and Shadow were just out of audio range to hear those shields getting cracked.
Well, they gotta get past their own armored wall,
Yeah,
right?
that's
It's a two-way street there.
It is a two-way street for sure, but at the same time, I definitely respect the decision there from Vico and Flixie, because that fight back that we saw from Shadow and Virgo defending their position inside of the bunker, despite the fact that it was Vico and Flixie, they did not care in the slightest. And I love that out of Shadow and Virgo, because they're a team that's coming in here, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily have many expectations for them, but the confidence that they compose themselves with, even on socials, they are here to try and actually shock the world.
Yeah, they really have matured as players, but look at this. Vico and Flixie now find Jerome and Zagu above them. You know, you take us back to the invitational window where Zagu really put up a performance and won over the hearts of the NA region and honestly the global fan base of Fortnite. Bring him here. He's got a lot of work to do coming into tomorrow alongside Shadom there, but the VODs will tell the story. The practice will show. Vico and Flixie's preparation clearly coming out in spades here, as is Peterbot and Foyos, and we all know they're guided by the same person.
But at the same time, you have such a strong day one performance. You got to be careful that you don't let that confidence transition into overconfidence. And Vico and Flixie, I don't want to call it an overinvestment just yet, but they got a whole lot of nothing after investing a decent bit. I mean, they were practically max mats before leaving that weapons bunker position. They were trying to see if they could wait out Shadow and Virgo, but those two were not willing to budge in the slightest. And now Vico, Flixie, they didn't have any other options but to leave in a totally separate direction after acquiring nothing out of it as well. I mean, I get it. You're feeling good, especially after the performance they've had today, but moments like that could be disastrous in day 2.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, it's surely confidence, right? Pushing in like that, but give it a minute here. Acorn and Cold now pushing Zagu, or sorry, Rise and Yuma actually. Rise and Yuma, who started off so hot today, have just dropped their mid games for 3 games in a row now, and it is really weighing in on the standings. They're gonna have to hit the drawing board big time now, as they have went from 2nd place all the way down to 14th now, and that just shows you how good of a couple of games they did have, given that they're still inside a very respectable position on the standings. So everyone who falls now, everyone you see getting dropped here, that's gonna be the end of their day 1s.
Poor Bolts, man. He's just trying to break through the armored walls that Kramsu and Clone keep throwing his way. And not only that, but he's got to make sure that he keeps tabs on the team that's also faced up on a hill behind him. Bolts, Bryce, they're not trying to get greedy by any means here. Pixie and Janus are definitely posing enough of a threat that they are trying to be tactical in the approach here. They just want the immediate fight up against Kramsu and Clone instead, but Kramsu, Clone, at least for the time being, they've got the health advantage.
Flixie, though, finds himself below the surge. It's all making sense now as to why they realize they have to push a team. Gon and Quancy at the Railways are going to be meeting the team that is the king of the Railways at this point. This is the 2nd time now, right? Almost deja vu here. But this time, Flixie and Vico need the damage and the elims to go with it. Flixie gets shot first. Gon puts up a great tag there. But the edit comes through, and Vico is down at the bottom to catch him there. Fox running out, though, here. Can the make it come in time? Sure can. So Flixie and Vico have a moment here to breathe.
But again, this all kind of stems back to that bunker fight for me, MDF, because they spent so much time that now they are scrambling to try and make up for what was lost in the midst of it. Because they did not get the surge damage that they would have hoped for. They lost a decent amount of their resources, and now they're just praying that they can come out with even more refreshes after the fact, but they've got a long ways to trek through some of that storm as well. All the while, teams like Queasy, Thomas, a little box fight of their own up against the likes of Analex and Sato.
And that really shows you the significant difference of having a strong early game start versus a slow one. When the surge turns on, it is really, really evident how far behind you can be. For Queasy and Thomas HD, they're kind of on that line as well. They survived the first hurdle, but this next one that they know is looming nearby, they will have to stomp past. Analex and Sato here have had a very difficult day 1 up against Acorn and Cold, only surviving the drop 3 of the 6 times so far, this being one of them, and now they're met with this almost brick wall, this force that is Queasy and Thomas HD. Meanwhile, Quancy ultimately does end up falling here, but not before claiming Vico and earning some points.
And sure, there might be a chance for the reboot ban play to come into effect, but it's likely still going to leave Flixie and Vico sitting just underneath that storm damage threshold, if not even more so piling up against them. All the while, Peterbot continuing to claim as many eliminations as possible throughout the course of the day. These guys have been leading the charge here. Peterbot goes for another one.
Oh my
it just
God.
doesn't seem like Analex was prepared in the slightest.
I can just hear the reaction through the headphones of what's going on here in the arena. Clearly the crowd is starting to rally with Peterbot now. Just take a look at that. And the first emote of the day as well. So confidence surging, right, that we've seen.
Flixie trying to stock up as best he can. The Grand Rail Station, but couple of med kits. Still might not be enough to deal with this 2-tick zone. He's doing everything he can to make his way across. Bolts in a similar situation, but in fact, it's actually Veno and Clix on the receiving end, and they're the ones under the most duress here. Veno, he's got a little bit of shield, but underneath that damage threshold, their final lobby of the day is not gonna pan out the way they were hoping. 9th place team in trouble.
Kind of crazy. Clix and Veno fall. Bryce and Bolts jump up above them, and they were neck and neck on the leaderboards, on the standings. So a very, very critical set of eliminations for Bryce and Bolts, and now Veno and Clix are set back home, basically having to think about today and figuring out how to patch up their gameplay to close out in top 10 performance for tomorrow. But Bolts and Bryce heating up in the back half of the day here. They almost had that victory royale last game, dropping the ball there, which again, to me, I didn't expect it. I really thought Bryce and Bolts had that in the bag, had it secured, but Pollo was just incredible with the angle finding. Hold up. Acorn and Cold now find Hiras and Shiri. They've almost fouled each other from the south side of the zone somehow, swinging all the way here to the north side.
At the same time, though, they need to find some closure on some of these box fights. Spinks, Dukes, just all a couple boxes away. Thought they were a little bit closer. It's actually going to be Batman Bugha and Rapid who are directly next to them. Siyun and Kadu, though, they don't waste any time. They immediately aggress into Rapid's box. They're going to find one elimination there already. Batman Bugha struggling with the surge as well, trying to do what he can to play for the medkit, but he won't get the chance. Taken down by the last surge tick.
The Elim credit is going to go to Bolts, given that he did the last bit of damage there, but in the end, now there's a lot to worry about here. Siyun and Kadu obviously looking to fight back because they need a little bit of damage as well. Kado's going to fall there. Siyun's going to fall as well. This is to the hands now of Dukes and Sphinx. Where did they come from? Dukes showing up here to jump into the fight out of nowhere.
It's incredible how quickly they were able to close the gap between themselves. They overheard the box fight commotion, and they knew that's their prime opportunity to strike. Bolts as well, finding Felixi, the dominoes effect. They started off so strong here with the forecast availability as well, and yet find themselves eliminated way outside of where they'd hoped to be. And Thomas and Queasy, this could be a huge moment. I'd say everybody inside of the top 5 even. We're looking at Trulex and Chicho, Cold and Acorn. But again, all eyes on the Queasy and Thomas HD currently. They've been doing a fantastic job skirting their way through these seeds.
All I can think about is that Peter Bot and Pollo are starting to run away now, having a chance here to really take the lead on the scoreboard. Second place is down and out. Queasy and Thomas HD have to stay in the running now to keep this one close. Meanwhile, look who's running their way on up. Sphinx and Dukes from the back of the line, starting to skip and hop their way to the front here somehow. Bolt still getting active. Nicely done. Finds Zagu. A big elimination for him there. Armored Wall comes out to protect his flank there.
The problem, though, is that Bolts has likely been recognized as a solo. That reveal medallion definitely in range for Peterbot and Pollo, and they're the ones that were shooting from behind alongside Cooper and Kanata. Bolts, he was already running low on his material count, even transitioning to this point, and now his final 10 builds, hoping that he can scramble into something, anything. Finds a couple more just laying on the ground, but he's been marked yet again. The pressure just continues to bubble in to his builds.
That's the best part about it, is he just keeps getting marked every time he finds a new spot.
That's so depressing.
And everyone's like, oh, a solo. It's Bolts just trying to work his way through. Back to the armor walls he gets, though. Very nice here. And it's obviously Peterbot and Pollo. Like, they are just almost toying with him at this point. They could have pushed at any given time if they wanted.
Look at the duality of the loop that they are functioning with. Queasy as well. He's actually got no builds.
No build.
Queasy is just running it at this point. These walls might not even belong to him. Thomas HD in a similar position, trying to climb up over. See if he can find any kind of elimination. At this point, a refresh is the only option.
Queasy found one. Look, he picks up the Elim, gets a little bit of mats there, splits it with his teammate, but the shots are coming in from the front side now. Has to burn what little bit that he picked up just to stay alive right now, and They are nearing the top 15, the next threshold there. Down he goes, all up to Thomas HD now to keep the dream alive, to earn as many points as possible here. But what is humanly possible when you barely have anything to work with?
He can just break into the top 10. I think Queasy and Thomas HD would be very happy with the closure on their day one performance. Even more so still though, Thomas HD, he keeps looking every direction, every second. It's so difficult to maintain this level of composure, but even as a solo, Thomas HD might be able to make some magic happen.
Up above though, the scanner is still coming out for Peterbot and Pollo. They have all the information in the world, top 15 now, 28 below, down body there. Those could be maps, but no, he needs more than that. He needs to drop teams for placement at the very least, if nothing else.
Wow.
Honey falls there. That'll be full credits, I think, for him, but even if it's Max there, some builds too. Gets up on the second layer, shots come in from everywhere, gets a couple more placement points, and it's something. But now look at this, Kanata Cooper in the end game, Trulex and Chicho once again here, alive and healthy.
Even more importantly still, they're applying a little bit of pressure here onto Pollo and Peterbot. They are actually forced to just try and punch their way through the mid ground. You can tell Pollo, Peterbot, they want to maybe take a jab at the height, but Azers and Rise currently in full control and continuing to ramp upwards. A couple of armored walls expended as well, just to ensure that it's not going to be easy for them to get chopped anytime soon. They've also got the Flowberry Fizz as that emergency exit plan, but Pollo, Peterbot across the way, spotting out Kanata and Cooper. The reveal medallion just doing so much as far as helping them to establish exactly which teams, which players they want to aggress.
They are strategically choosing who to target, given that they have all the information that they need. Meanwhile, Geras and Shari are saying, oh, we have a chance to win if we can get out high ground. And they look up, Peterbot spots out Kanata inside the zone, gets a little bit of damage, figures the zone will do the rest. Now focus comes in on the low ground, and it's so smart for them to be down here. They're just earning so many points now that they are jumping towards the 400-point threshold here.
Just in the eliminations alone, they've got 7 between the two of them. Geras as a solo, bound to be marked any second here if he hasn't been already. Pollo, not even gonna bother, instantly goes with the left side edit peek, gets all the credit onto that Geras elimination, and now just a raw 2 versus 2 up against the likes of Azers and Rise.
Peterbot and Pollo went from second to first, and now, at minimal, a second place, but Pollo is always the first to kick off the fight, and he does it in spectacular fashion. Now Peterbot steps up to the plate. Azers is hurt. One edit, it's all it's gonna take here to put him down, but Armor Wall comes through to get his teammate the full reset here. He says, hey, let's not rush it. And then they jump down, focusing up to high ground here shortly. Give it a moment now. Peterbot and Pollo side by side here. Rise and Azers starting to fill it off. Pressure coming in from the low ground. They're running out of materials. Armor walls are done. They're depleted.
Still decent amount of space for Peterbot and Pollo to work with. Keep in mind, Pollo also still has those 4 armored walls, but as far as the health bar is concerned, Peterbot, Pollo, they are fully in the driver's seat. But that doesn't mean that Rise and Azers couldn't turn this one in their favor. They also need a massive game here to finish strong on the leaderboard.
Definitely, this is gonna be a significant moment now. How do you close out day number 1? Second and first, very impactful differences here. Peterbot and Pollo start to swing their way up. They get the angle that they're looking for. Pollo, once again, doesn't quite find it. Peterbot's hurt, though. It's a low ground attack. Pollo by himself here, but the trade from Peterbot up top, he has done what he needed to. And Pollo takes down Azers and clutches out the win from the low ground with back-to-back dubs.
Pollo said it himself. I don't need to worry when I've got Peterbot next to me, and Peterbot could say the same fashion. As long as he's got his duo Pollo, these two can always try to reestablish control, and they took this last game by force.
One more time, back-to-back victory royales. Give it up for Peterbot and Pollo! Fellas, I seem to chat to you a lot on this day one of this competition, and I'm loving it because what we're seeing out there, doesn't matter if it's high ground, low ground, mid, you guys are in control. Pollo, walk us through the last part of that game there. I mean, it just seemed that, even though you were on the low, you managed to control things perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it was like last game too. We waited for old builds, and then we went up. We were able to like crack them. Peter got a kill, and then the other one just 50-50 me. I was able to kill him.
I mean, we celebrate. Well, there's people really screaming your name over that. Someone literally shouted Peter, the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. And rightly so, by the way. Obviously, Poyo as well. Let's get the credit where it's due. A teammate like Poyo, what's it been like competing this year, in this competition? Give him his props. How great is this as a duo teammate?
I mean, he's the best teammate possible. I mean, he gets eliminations. He's like a good like IGL when I need it. You know, like we're kind of like, we both make calls and, you know, like we're like the best team.
We're looking ahead to tomorrow now. Today, I mean, you guys have cemented yourselves top of that leaderboard. It is looking mighty fine indeed. What do you do tonight? How do you guys kind of like regroup ahead of tomorrow? I mean, do you need to regroup at this point? Are you just going to play it exactly the same way? Poyo, how do things happen tonight? What happens tomorrow?
There's always room for improvement. We're gonna look like games tonight and then see what we can do tomorrow.
And Peterbot, you are steps away. Tomorrow, someone's going to lift that trophy. How do you think it's going to be, you guys? How close do you think it'll come to it?
That'll be us. It won't be close. I mean, we're ahead by a lot, and tomorrow we're gonna come out winning.
Fort Worth, do you think Peterbot and Poyo could go all the way? Could they go all the way? I think that you could. Look, congratulations again. Fantastic way. One more time. Our Game 6 winners, Peterbot and Poyo! What a way to wrap things up here on the main stage today. Back-to-back dubs for the guys here. Who knows who will get that tomorrow? We'll have to find out. For now, though, back to Zeke and the gang. What a day one.
Game 6. Peterbot, Poyo, win.
What's that, Zeke? Is it?
What's up?
What are you writing?
This is the global script right here.
Don't
you can see that? Oh, sorry. Actually, yeah. No one's supposed to know that's a thing. I didn't write that. Guys, what have we done? How did we let this happen? How have we allowed Poyo, Peterbot to get a second place, 2 victory hours on the day in the situations that they have been? This reminds me of Major 2 when we set a 1,000 record, right? It went absolutely crazy for them. They went off, and now they're looking to do the same thing, but not only in just NA. No. They're looking to show up every other region.
You ask how we let this do it. No one can stop this from happening. This is what we've been talking about for the last year. Peterbot and Poyo have absolutely dominated. They have become the demons of North America. Yep. They have broken so many records this year, and they are here to finally put out all the doubt, to show everyone that we are the best. This isn't luck. This is ours, and we have deserved it.
And yet again, they're playing the end game so well. You saw Poyo talking about it right there. Another very similar end game to what we saw last time. Going into this, Peterbot and Poyo were the team that held height for the longest out of any duo this chapter. It seems like they've changed things up a little bit here. They're more than happy to play those low ground layers, finding those eliminations. And I said it to you, Kelly, I was like, how are they always getting this medallion, this assault rifle? How are they getting it every single game? They're making the most of it in day number 1 as well. It's all about day 2 now, though. Are they going to be contested for it? Is someone going to throw a spanner in the works? Let's wait and see.
Well, when you asked me, I was talking about Grim Gate, and when we saw Acorn and Cold, one of the best duos in the world, try and fight Peterbot and Poyo for that spot, and they lost and they left. Acorn and Cold, who is one of the best teams contested, left Peterbot and Poyo. No one is going to be fighting for this. We might see some things change for Major 2 or for Day 2, because anything can happen in the FNCS Day 2 competition, because it is that 1.5 times multiplier. But not just going for the coin, for the mythic weapon, not just going for the forecast towers, but also going for bunkers, going for the Rift Island time and time again, and sticking to the low ground so that they get those refreshes. They get all that loot, finding splashes. Zeke, I heard you losing your mind when they found those.
I can't. Like, you know, that's the second time now. The game before, they run in and they find the armored walls, and that was a difference maker. Here, they find the splashes in a situation where they're thinking, okay, we've cracked them. They're on whites. They're out of shield. And then they're like, yeah, splashes. We're both up to 200 again. Good luck. We have a listen in from that game-winning moment. Take a look.
20, 40,
dead.
Okay, spray this.
Keep it going. No, we don't. I don't think we look for a kill.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Wait, let's just
120. Dead.
Chill.
Ready?
Body here,
I'm done. Chugs, get the chugs!
Where?
Chugs,
I have
build.
6, bro, 6.
Nice.
I got
Grab
ammo. I
break.
got ammo. Take.
Reload your guns and stuff.
80.
Have that fry. Fry. 100 on both one. I'm not giving my body. One dead, I killed one. One, spray out.
Dead,
Let's
bro,
go!
let's go, bro.
You're the best, baby, let's go! We're the best players in the world on my life.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go.
Man, just an unbelievable performance here in day number 1. And again, this isn't just like a major, and this isn't just a major self-contained to its own region. This is the peak of Fortnite. This is the toughest lobby we should see ever, right? 6 regions, the very best of all regions. And yet Peterbot and Poyo are performing like this. Mini Miner, I'm terrified going into day 2 and a 1.5 times multiplier.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who isn't terrified. Peterbot and Poyo. You
Of
saw
course.
it right there in those comms. Just when you watch them play, it looks so hectic. It looks so crazy. It looks like they're having an absolute madness on the comms. We do a listening right there. Very, very calm. Poyo's doing such a great job at listening to Peterbot. You can tell he's sort of the more vocal player in the duo, and the comms are so precise. It's something we don't really get to talk to too much, or talk about too much, because we don't get to listen in too often online and stuff like that. But just the art of communicating is so understated, and for these guys, they do it so well. Every single thing that they say is containing some value.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Wow.
That is a 150-point lead for Peterbot and Poyo. 45 eliminations. That is 18 more than any other duo on this lobby list.
I want to point this out, and I know you guys at home aren't in the stadium and you can't see this. All I did was just do a quick, just 360 to just look at the faces of the people in the crowd, and they all had the same reaction. No. There is a 150-point lead going into tomorrow, and all they have to do is just keep doing exactly what they're doing, and those points will start to add up. They'll start to get out of control. Someone has to try and stop these guys.
You know when you see a king and all the subjects from around the land slowly come up and pay their respects, kiss the ring? That's what we're seeing here right now. Every player coming up to Peterbot, everyone giving him like high fives and handshakes and stuff, because he has earned it. He has earned the confidence. And I also love the respect for his own duo mate, Poyo. This isn't just the Peterbot show. This is the Peterbot and Poyo show. And Peterbot knows that. He knows how good of a player Poyo is. The best teammate he could have had. And here they are showing up on the biggest stage in the world.
That's a fantastic point, right? I think a lot of times we tend to talk about Peterbot, and it's not because we don't know that Poyo is just like an incredible kind of pairing with him. It's just a lot of times Peterbot's doing these kind of crazy things. So I love in this last game, we get that Poyo clutch, right? We get to just put a nice little stamp on it. Don't you ever disrespect Poyo, because he is also just as strong on this team. I wanted to take a look here at some stats from the day. We can bring those up. Yeah, so let's just see. Oh yeah, eliminations, solo impact points, builds placed, and damage ratio. Crazy that Peterbot has 2 of those stats, eliminations and the damage ratio. He's been putting in some work, Kelly.
2.74 damage ratio is absolutely insane. Mini, I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, I mean, damage ratio, for those that don't know, it's all about how much damage you're doing versus how much you're taking. So that means he's almost doing 3 times as much damage as he's taking from other players. I think a lot of that is down to that Mythic Assault Rifle, knowing exactly where those teams are with that medallion as well is going to play into his hands, but just the aim that he's able to display is absolutely incredible. And I mean, this is someone that, you know, we've talked about how an incredible year they've had. Was it second, first? To top it off with a global championship, this would be the best, most dominant year of any duo in Fortnite history.
Easily.
I don't even know. I don't know. Why did tomorrow 1.5 times? I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. Okay, let's take a look at these standings one last time before we start to wrap up the day.
We have to talk about other duos.
I know we have to talk about other duos.
Yeah.
Just pretend Peterbot and Poyo don't exist for a moment there. Thomas, HD, and Queasy currently sitting at 295 points as well. They've been performing fantastic throughout the day. Obviously, we've seen a couple of gatekeepers, right, to the duo, and that is, in fact, Peterbot and Poyo. But when they're not in the mix, Queasy and Thomas have taken hide, right? They've had these really beautiful rotations. They've been putting on a show, It's just, you've got Peterbot and Pollo in your way.
Wouldn't it be their destiny to have an incredible grand finals, but still end up in second place? But still, Queasy, Thomas HD showcasing just why they are such incredibly respected duos here, the communication, the synergy between these two players here. And obviously, this day probably didn't go as well as they wanted to, but still ending up in second place is a great performance after day one.
And now for these guys, I know even more than anyone, they'll be sitting in the VODs. I think they're probably already in. They probably just ran out straight to the VODs because second place, although it's good, it's a good situation to be in. These guys are winners. They want to make sure they put themselves in the best situation possible to find themselves in a better situation tomorrow. I think they're a team that can benefit from these that 1.5x multiplier. I'm really surprised and impressed as to how well they're playing, being able to use that launch pad to rotate on out, finding Storm Surge tags. I must highlight Thomas HD with that pistol. We gave a little bit of a preview to it earlier. Every single time we seem to switch to him shooting that pistol, it seems to be connecting with the other players. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, Queasy said it himself. He was like, on one of the post-game interviews, he's like, yeah, I did like 200 damage. Thomas is doing like 600, 700. I'm just here following and making sure to lead the way. So it's a really nice dynamic between these guys, and I hope to see more from them tomorrow.
Another duo that I'd really like to talk about on the leaderboard there in our top 10, representing the Asia region.
Yeah.
It is going to be Koyota and Mipoli, and we actually thought it was going to be Rise and Yuma currently. They were in second place, third place at one point earlier on in the day, but jumping up into the top 10 at the end of day one is absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, really, really insane. And on that note, another team that I'm really excited to see up here as well, Hutty and Kovacs in that 6th place position. Funny story about this as well. Kovacs is a player that didn't make last Globals. I was lucky enough to be at the Global Championships last year. Speaking to him behind the scenes as well when he was in the audience, he said to me, he said, Miniminer, I will be on that stage next year. I will be competing, mark my words. Here he is. He's not in the audience, he's competing, and he's doing incredibly well out of that Rebels Roost drop spot as well. It seems like they're navigating it really well. And that's the sort of thing that this game's all about, right? You can just think yourself, right, these guys are on that stage. I want to be there. He put in the work, and he's seeing the rewards. Really good start from those two.
Two more teams that we didn't really give too much credit for at the start. CZB and Nathan doing a great job right now in 8th place. And Dukes and Sphinx, a lot of us, and myself included, I don't know why we don't give them the respect. They're multi-FNCS winners. They've done time and time again, especially in a LAN setting, they've performed really well. So to see them currently in 9th place, I love to see it.
Absolutely. Day one is all about setting kind of ourselves, right? Because when we come in tomorrow, we've got that 1.5 times multiplier. Have some of these duos done enough, right? Because if you're at that deficit, you have to work that much harder going into tomorrow. But for someone like Peterbot and Pollo, they're so far ahead, they could look to take advantage of that. So how do we look to approach that tomorrow?
I think it's possible. I mean, with a Victory Royale and 10 eliminations, that garners you 160 points, which would be the separation. Obviously, that means that Peterbot and Pollo have to go down off drop, which I don't think is going to be happening. But, I mean, when you look at day two teams, historically, Acorn and Cold perform absolutely insane on day two, and they are currently in our top 10 list. I think that they may have some secret strats. There's also probably some teams, like you said, that are going to be VOD reviewing, looking at their replays right now, and kind of seeing, is there, like, you know, a little hitch in the armor of Peterbot and Pollo?
Yeah, and I think what's most important for Peterbot and Pollo here is that they took advantage of today. I think, you know, we all sort of knew what was going to happen. We all knew what their strategy was going to be. Everyone knew what was going to happen. They were going to get that medallion. They were going to get that Mythic Assault Rifle, go crazy. But now some teams can hit the VODs. They can think, right, how can we sort of approach this? Maybe we land on them. Maybe we try and take that NPC and then dip on out. So it's really good from them that they were able to take advantage of that situation while they had it, because they might not have it tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a few moments really on in the early game after they do get that coin and the mythic weapon where they kind of just go along the river, and you can see them looking back to the rest of Raft, seeing if there's a few shots they can get, but also just paying attention to see if anyone else is. They're not even building, they're not even tarping, even though there's some incredible duos landing next to them. So if the other players are aware that they're kind of vulnerable during that moment, that might be an opportunity. But again, it's Peterbot and Pollo. As soon as they see another player, they're just going to beam them and eliminate them.
Yeah, it's almost like a signal for like, oh my gosh, someone shot at us. I guess we're getting some more back boys. Let's go. Wow. Well, Fortnite fam, we just thank you guys so much. That wraps up day number 1 of the 2024 FNCS Global Championships. Tomorrow, we look to play another 6 games with a 1.5 times multiplier. So, until then, we love you. Keep yourself safe. See you on that battle bus.
Beep, beep.